would you like to go from feeling stuck to being fulfilled with conscious leadership? In today's session, we have Ron Stotts. What's so special about Ron Stotts is that he's a 3-time best-selling author with a PhD in psychology and a chiropractic doctor, and has been teaching meditation for over 45 years. And he's explored the depths of ancient wisdom and the latest in psychological, neurological studies and leadership as he guides entrepreneurs and executives into the highest levels of conscious leadership. The first question I have is, what's the secret to your success? And does conscious leadership have anything to do with that? Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu. Mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services.
I think it has everything to do with that, or certainly the result of it. I find that people go, the clients that I get, they've gone to some of the most highest academic schools, and they're smart. And that's gotten them through life, and it's gotten them through life well. They got them the job that they want, and they're feeling really like they've arrived. But over a few years, all of a sudden they start feeling stuck. In other words, using that logical left brain, that methodology of success has gotten them so far, but it doesn't allow them. All of a sudden, they aren't relating with others as well. They aren't getting the results in terms of their teams and others that they're working with. They're not getting the alignment, the results that they're looking for, and they're frustrated. Oftentimes, they see it in their own homes. They're not getting the relationship with their children or with their spouses that they're looking for. And, they try harder and they use all the tools and logic that they've used before to make it work, but it even fails even on a deeper level. So that's when they reach out. They feel frustrated. They feel like they're just not sure what direction to go in. And the direction that I take them in, and it's really the secret to my success, is that I take them from looking outside of themselves to looking within themselves. And as they learn to look deeper within themselves, they learn to really recognize what's holding them back, what needs to be healed, what needs to be opened and accessed so that they can create the life that they want. Go ahead. Yeah.
5 of your top achievements in the field of conscious leadership. It could be something that you have personally achieved or something you've helped your clients achieve.
Well, the conscious leadership just means that you're more self-aware, and that self-awareness really leads to greater confidence. It leads to, as you become more self-aware, you accept yourself more, you become more capable of loving yourself. You become more self-confident and an authentic leader, which allows you to be more compassionate and vulnerable with others. And in that compassionate place, you also others feel a deeper level of trust with who and what you are. And that allows you to really have people really buying into, what it is you want to do, because they trust you and they start giving their all. And all of a sudden, and all the research shows that it increases productivity and profits by at least 40%. I've had clients that increases their productivity and profits by 100%. I think in terms of you're really just leading a team, and that team is not functioning as a single unit. But as you become more integrated and accepting and gracious and authentic, all of a sudden your team comes into alignment and everybody's working towards the same goals. And that results in extraordinary success and a very fulfilling life too.
Thank you. What are the top 5 steps entrepreneurs need to take in order to implement conscious leadership into their lives?
Well, I think they have to recognize that They're all running into adversity, and adversity has really opened you to empowering change. And that you learn to breathe and learns to really recognize challenges or opportunities. Those opportunities are really for you to go within yourself and see, you're feeling stuck. So let's go within and find out what part is stuck, what part needs to be healed, so you can access that more fulfilling parts of yourself that you need for greater levels, higher levels of leadership. Is that what you were asking about? Yeah.
Yes. Like, what kind of steps do entrepreneurs need to take in order to become more self-aware and in order to become conscious leaders?
Well, you have to become more self-aware. You have to become more self-accepting. You have to really learn to trust and be authentic, so that when you're working with others, they feel a sense of compassion and trust from you. And in that deeper connection, they begin to appreciate what it is you're trying to do, because you're more able to create and communicate clearly what it is you're trying to achieve, the uniqueness of it, and the integration of it, as you will, if you will, in terms of making the world a better place, but also making, good money and having high levels of success. And so, yeah, as you become more comfortable with yourself, you become more comfortable with others. As you become more comfortable as a team, you create an organization that's more productive and profitable.
Thank you. That's an example of how this would work in practice. Let's say I'm a book publisher and I help entrepreneurs to brand themselves through publishing a book so they can get more business, so they can attract more PR and media opportunities and speaking opportunities. And then from then on, I help them to attract more business through direct introductions of people I deem suitable as a joint venture partner, for example, for their business. How would I become a conscious leader within this framework of that you've created?
That's an interesting question. Within the framework, you really have to step. That's the challenge. Everybody wants to do it within what they're doing, and they really need to step back and really become more self-aware. And it's difficult when you're in the middle of that mix to become more self-aware. You tend to use the same tools, same tendencies, same characteristics that you've always used and relied on. But when you find them not working to the level that you want them to, that's when you need to step back and take a deeper look within yourself. And if you're not willing to do that, then nothing's going to change. And so I would say how you use that is as a reference as to how it's working and serving and supporting you, so that you can serve and support others, so that you can create a more profitable and productive organization, so that your people can look deeper in terms of what they're writing and communicate more clearly, so that you can communicate more clearly and connect with them, and so that they trust you more, so that you can inspire them to create the book and produce and put the book out in a way that allows them to reach the audience that they want to reach in a meaningful, impactful way.
Thank you. What does it mean to become self-aware as such? What would I be needing to do on a daily basis? Is it a certain routine or habit that I would need to follow in order to become a more conscious leader? Or what do I need to do exactly to become more self-aware?
Well, it would start with you learning to breathe and be more present. It would start with you learning to be more introspective and really taking a moment to consider who you're speaking with, what it is you're really looking for. And so that's a process where, you have to learn to stop long enough so that you can breathe into and through whatever challenges are coming up, whatever level of disconnection you might be feeling with somebody or with some organization. You have to be present enough with yourself to be in touch with all of who and what you are, so that you can relate with others and from that same depth and level of self-awareness and other awareness.
Okay. Now imagine I'm already very introspective and I'm already sort of, let's say every time I'm speaking to someone, I'm already kind of like trying to gather some of their energy in terms of, I'm already thinking, okay, what do they need help with? How can I support them? How can I be more present? How can I be more kind? Who can I introduce? Like, what optimization process would I need to go through in order to become a more conscious leader, considering I'm already doing that?
Just in your description alone, you're talking about all the thought processes you're going through. A conscious leader is really not going through thought processes. They're breathing and being present and trusting their intuition and higher levels of awareness to give them the information that they need to relate not only with themselves, but with others as to what to say. They don't think about what to say. They quiet their mind and are present enough to know what to say. And that comes from a higher level of connection, higher level of consciousness, if you will, that you can only find by slowing down enough to breathe and be present and curious so that you're actually relating with somebody on that level.
Okay, that is so interesting. Okay, and what other processes or routines or habits should entrepreneurs go through to make sure they become more conscious leaders?
Well, I think you really truly have to become, and again, this is just research, you have to be living life in both personally and professionally quite mindfully. In other words, it's not just going through the routine and running through the frustrations and the excitements and the desires and fears. It's a matter of being present enough to really mindfully make your choices, mindfully be present with people so that they feel like you're truly there with them. And so, yeah, I mean, the research shows that if you really develop in all aspects of your life and are living them mindfully, if you are having what I would call significant personal transformational experiences in and throughout your life so that you can continue to grow and expand your level of consciousness, then you will be becoming a conscious leader. It's shifting life from having desires and fears and reactions to really embracing a life where you're evolving all of the time.
Thank you. What else needs to happen for this to actually know that, okay, I've made this happen?
What actually happens so that you know you made it happen? It's really a matter of what aspects of yourself haven't you healed? What do you need to do to become more whole? What do you need to do so that you can slow it down and be present enough with yourself so that you see your challenges are truly opportunities for you to continue to grow? You become more self-aware, self-accepting, but you also become more other-aware and other-accepting. And so, consciousness is really defined by your awareness of what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what your level of awareness is at any given time. And so as I hear my clients all the time in ongoing calls and in personal visits, they're becoming quite, and you're asking for how do you know? They literally are talking about, oh, I'm becoming more aware of what I'm thinking. I'm becoming more aware of what I'm feeling. I'm becoming more aware of what others are thinking and what others are feeling. Not from a place of concern or worried about what other people are thinking, but from a place of compassion and knowing what others are thinking and feeling so that you can be there and be present for them and support them in whatever ways you can. And so the measurements are really, you become a more conscious person, and it's reflected in all of your relationships. It's reflected in your level of success. It's reflected in your level of thinking, because there's no fear-based thinking any longer. It's all what will serve and really reach and get the best outcomes.
Thank you. Now, I would say that I often think about that, like how to become more conscious, and I self-reflect on my mistakes. I reflect on how I could have done things better and so on. And I think self-acceptance was one of the hardest things I've had to do. So I do wonder about what steps should entrepreneurs take in order to self-accept. Now, I do find that, for example, it's become easier to do it for me through affirmations, but it's been I'm almost 43 now, and I would say it has taken me 40 years to kind of accept myself. And I am noticing now that I accept myself more, that I have more self-love, that I'm noticing a difference in terms of the kind of people I'm attracting into my life. So, for example, maybe a person like you wouldn't have appeared in my life maybe a couple of years ago, just because I wasn't at a level of self-acceptance where I would perhaps not attract the kind of people that were, like kind and all about conscious leadership. I would have attracted like a mixed range of people. And I find that a lot of that was due to my internal view of myself, which was sometimes accepting myself and sometimes didn't. So because of that, I would have this, you could say, yo-yo effect of sometimes attracting really nice people and sometimes attracting really awful people into my life. And I find this self-acceptance has really translated into being surrounded by really extraordinary people like you. And I wonder what steps you would recommend for entrepreneurs to achieve self-acceptance.
It's really what level of self that you're willing to become aware of. Most people think in terms of themselves as who they are in this now that they exist in. The truth is, we're at the effect of our past. As we come into this world, we want love and acceptance more than anything else. And so we figure out how to get it and optimize that love and acceptance that we can get from initially our family of origin, but then from others as we get into school and in social situations. And so there's all sorts of different experiences that we have growing up. And we react emotionally to those experiences. And as a child, a lot of those experiences we don't know how to emotionally react to. We don't know how to respond and take care of ourselves. So what we end up doing is shoving those emotions down into our gut, hiding them deep within that cave into our gut. And we continue to grow, and we continue to learn to hide that cave, to ignore that cave, to deny that cave even exists, even though it's filled with all the different aspects of ourself that we didn't know how to deal with, we didn't know how to heal, we didn't know how to nurture. And so really, to heighten your ability to become more self-aware, you need to go back in and reconnect with those levels of self, those childhood aspects of yourself. Find out where they are, what they're doing, what they're feeling, what wasn't healed, and what needs to be healed, so that you can access those very parts of yourself that you need to reach the levels of success and self-confidence that you want today.
That is fascinating. And what other steps should entrepreneurs take in order to become conscious leaders?
What other steps? Well, it's by, that initial work takes a couple of months. And so they have to really, take that deep dive into themselves with somebody guiding them and keeping it safe and supportive. Then it usually takes about another maybe 9 months where people are still going through life, but they're still reacting to things and they need help so that they can get a different perspective on things. And that help comes in the way from somebody who is more conscious and can say, oh, we can look at it this way. I mean, people just literally see adversity as something that's bad, and they want to get rid of it. They don't want to deal with it, or they feel like something's working against them. And as I said earlier, adversity is really nothing but an indicator that you're ready to grow and evolve. Adversity, issues, problems, challenges are nothing but indicators that, oh, there's a part of you that's ready to be healed, a part of you that's ready to come forward. And I can guarantee you, once you heal that part, the part that you need to continue to evolve in whatever you're doing is the part that will come forward.
That is so fascinating. So are you saying that the bigger the challenges, that kind of demonstrates that you are now capable of handling bigger things in life, because that challenge that is huge would never come to you if you really couldn't handle it?
Yeah, well said. Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of personal growth work, and I was well along in my life before the biggest issue of my life came forward. And when it did, it was completely, threw me off. But I was also very excited that it finally came forward. I was back in the Vietnam War, and I lost, dozens of my close friends. They were killed over there. And I had dealt with it in whatever levels I had dealt with, but I was, I'd done a tremendous work over many, many decades before it came up and was truly healed. And so, yeah, that would be a good example of this grand level of healing that needed to take place, but it wouldn't be able to take place until I had established a safety, a healing place, an ability to look at that depth and handle that level of healing.
Thank you. How can entrepreneurs find within themselves that courage to heal? Because I think it can be quite a dark place to kind of try to look at yourself and kind of admit to yourself you dislike yourself, or I don't know, you have too much anxiety about something that you are doing, or that you are manifesting into your life, and you don't want to admit that actually it's down to you. The universe you're manifesting has all to do with your inner healing or the lack of it. So it's been a long journey for me to kind of start to see that I'm manifesting exactly what I don't want into my life because I'm focusing too much on it, or because there are certain parts of me that are still unhealed. And because of that, like I'm a mirror, and then the universe is a mirror of me. And therefore, everything I don't want is still out there, kind of, I'm getting attracted to me. So I wonder, how do you suggest entrepreneurs find that courage to look within and start the healing process?
Well, I think if you find the darkness, then you know it needs light. And if you care and love yourself enough, or you have dreams of serving and supporting others enough, or whatever it is your motivation might be, that's where you find the courage. Oftentimes that courage comes out of desperation, because you want to live, you want to do better, you want to be more successful, you want to have an impact in the world, you want all these things. Well, those wants are very normal, and they're very healthy, good things. So the question is, well, who do you need to become so that you can create that image of life, that, fulfill those expectations of life? And the point, a lot of times I see it, it's just rampant throughout our world. People feel like they're not enough, they're not good enough, they're not living up their full potential. What they don't understand is the very things that they need, the aspects of life and of themselves that they need, are within. And so they just need to learn to breathe, to look deeper, to find what that, they're having a feeling. Well, what's underneath that feeling? And underneath that feeling, they'll recognize an experience or a situation or an event that wasn't healed, an aspect of themselves that wasn't healed. And as you breathe into that and acknowledge and express the emotions around that, helping that inner child to heal and develop, then you access that part of yourself that you need. So it's never that you're not enough. Well, it's just a matter of looking within and discovering that you're more than enough. And doing that on your own, to be honest with you, I don't think we can do it. It's, we're just not capable of looking into those darker areas on our own. And that's where you really do have to find somebody who you trust as a guide and a supportive, person that can take you into those areas where you feel safe and comfortable and face them. It doesn't really, only takes a couple of months to journey into the depths of who and what you truly are with somebody who's guiding you. And you don't have to, bang your way through life with all the difficulties that result from a life that's, where you're not being introspective, where you haven't done that inner healing, that deeper healing. So it's just a choice.
Does meditation help at all in terms of finding that initial step you need to take in order to heal the dark parts of yourself?
Think in terms of, you were talking about earlier, all that mind stuff that we do to busy ourselves, to heal ourselves, to do. It's all that mind stuff. Well, if I just think hard enough, if I just try hard enough, if I just want enough, that's all mind stuff. The mind, it just is, think in terms of you only have access to about 5 or 10% of your thoughts. So that means the other 90% which is filled with all of our subconscious thoughts, filled with all those sensitive inadequacies and emotional backlog that we haven't healed, has full reign to just sort of wipe out the desires and the determinations of that 10%. So people are oftentimes, they're told, well, just focus on this and then you'll be able to do it. And they really try their hardest. They do their best. And I really congratulate them for that. But if you haven't healed that 90% of emotional backlog, it's going to just, your desires are going to dissipate. You're going to find yourself really back to where you started from. So meditation is really, that's the journey into silence, the journey into light. And as you journey into that silence, you quiet the mind. And as you quiet the mind, those aspects of yourself that you haven't dealt with or uncomfortable with can begin to come forward. And so, yeah, they're very, very connected.
Thank you. I dislike meditation. Like, I really do, because I find that I feel excited. I feel like I'm living when I'm not meditating. And I've been to some courses or events where meditation was a big part of the program. And I'm like, so bored. Oh my God, I cannot wait to get out of there. Does that mean that there's something that I'm not willing to look at because I dislike meditation? And actually, I would go as far as to say that I was even scared during meditation when I had to do it. When I remember there was a process where we had to pretend that we are going through a pyramid. And then I was just like thinking, oh my God, I'm alone in here in the middle of the sky, in the pyramid, and then in a circle, and then some other, stuff that was like, oh my God, it's so scary for me. So yeah, my question was, does that mean that because I dislike meditation, that there's a dark part of me that I'm not willing to look at?
I think you just answered that question rather thoroughly. Yes, that's exactly what it means. That's why people are so uncomfortable with meditation. That's why, lots of times people say, oh, I meditate every day. And I say, oh, well, how long? And they'll go, oh, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe. And it's like, well, I've probably meditated 35,000 hours. And when I sit down to meditate, it usually takes me about 10 minutes just to get into the meditation. What I realize is what they do is they sit and do what they call meditation. But as soon as their mind gets quiet, then they end, and that's where it starts. That's the start of meditation, is when the mind gets quiet. The start of meditation, and when you really look at meditation, there's an infinite number of styles of meditation. But they all have one thing in common, that is they all have a single-pointed focus. And that point of the single-pointed focus, whether it's an outside visual or a mantra or a breath or whirling in circles or whatever your single-pointed focus might be, the point of that single-pointed focus is to give the mind something to do. You can't, the mind, if you're using the mind to try and quiet the mind, you've just shot yourself in the foot. That can't happen. You have to give the mind something to do. I use the breath, and that breathing allows me to get quieter and quieter and quieter until I'm just even beyond awareness of breathing and anything else. So you have to be able to trust whatever that single-pointed focus is. But that's where that mind comes in, and you go through all those fears and discomforts and sabotages and that type of thing. So, yeah, it's a clear indicator, and it's a good indicator that there are things that you really, would need to if you want. And I wouldn't say you want to necessarily, but you would certainly receive huge awards from if you would take the time to be able to go on that inner journey so you can discover yourself, all those aspects of yourself that you are ignoring because it's too scary for you to go there.
Thank you. Now, what I find is that, let's say, there are some non-scary meditations, for example, like, let's say you go through a forest and you see a river and then you open a golden door and this kind of thing. That's a little bit less scary, but it still somehow feels scary. And
that's a visualization. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So as I'm thinking that, because I'm so creative, every time I'm thinking of, okay, like they kind of mentioned the golden door, and then I'm thinking, okay, and there will be like 10 rabbits, and then the rabbits are doing, like I'm embellishing whatever is being, said by the course leader that is kind of talking about that meditation. And it just turns into something completely different. I find it so difficult to actually like stop thinking of something else, kind of make it bigger, because, like I have this ability to turn something, like to turn nothing into something extraordinary, like really fast, to come up with 1,000 ideas about something that's happening there. So I find that is also quite interesting. How are you supposed to kind of like quieten down your mind in the sense of only focusing on that particular thing of, let's say, okay, you're going through the river and you're opening the golden door and you open it with a golden key and whatever, or are you supposed to like let your mind kind of flow and kind of come up with a million other things and make a note of that? What are you supposed to do to kind of make this process of meditation work for you?
Well, what do you think the answer is? If the journey is into silence and your journey is into the noise, what do you think? Yeah, you've got a firm belief, if you don't mind me sharing it, that the noisier my mind, the safer I am. If I have a quiet mind, I don't feel comfortable, I don't feel safe. And that tells you that there's a lot there that you don't want to look at. And that's not uncommon at all. But yeah, the point of any of that, and those are just introductory little vignettes and journeys, are to get you to focus and quiet your mind. Yeah, I mean, the meditation is all about learning to quiet your mind. It's really all about learning to stop thought and to sit in that silence.
And what was the benefit of doing that? Like, because I mean, our purpose on earth, isn't it to be like creative and to come up with a lot of things? Or why is it a good idea to kind of quieten your mind? What will that do if you like stop thinking about a gazillion things at the same time?
Using the mind in the way that you're talking about, you're developing your thinking mind. But there's levels of thought, levels of awareness, levels of access of wisdom that are well beyond that noise. So, for example, when somebody comes to me, and the people that come, my clients are very smart. I mean, they're very successful, very, successful leaders in their life in many ways. But they find the frustration is that they have to keep thinking about things. They have to try things out. They have to figure things out. And in their success, it becomes overwhelming. And so what I teach them through the processes that I do, through the healing that I've talked about and that type of thing, is really as you heal that inner aspects of ourselves, the right and the left brain, you really develop in that quiet, you start developing integrated whole brain thinking, whole nother level of creativity, imagination, and intuition comes into play. But as you get used to that level of play, then the forebrain, as your mind gets quieter, the forebrain, which is supposed to be the conscious leader, the CEO of your mind, rather than the amygdala, the emotional center running the whole show, as that forebrain begins to develop, you develop again entire new levels of accessing information and wisdom that accelerate your ability to handle rapid change and increased complexity that is so dominant in the business world today. And so, it's, and that's only level 1 and 2. The third level is your greatest wisdom, your access to the best of who and what you are is going to come when you learn to quiet your mind and access what I call big mind. In big mind, the high level players that I'm with, they learn to just, rather than think about what they're trying to create, they learn to quiet their mind and access a much more significant answer than they would have gotten by trying to effort and think about it. And they're able to, doesn't matter whether you're trying to create a design or a solution to a social situation, just doesn't matter what you're trying to create, or the results will come, but from that silence on a level and that you just wouldn't have thought of, just a higher level of wisdom coming into you that you access from, a part of yourself that you can only access when your mind is quiet enough to access it. So if you want to be that top conscious CEO, that successful CEO, you have to literally be able to quiet your mind and access those levels of wisdom and ability. Otherwise, you're just running yourself down. You don't have a work-life balance. You don't have good relationships with your family. All those different problems that people come to me with, are just symptomatic of a noisy mind that, was great to get them where they got to, but won't take them to where they want to get to.
That is very fascinating. Thank you so much. Where can entrepreneurs find you?
I would just go to ronstotts.com, my website, and certainly a lot of information, a lot of things that they can access and download for free that would be extraordinarily helpful and begin, give them a beginning to this inner journey. And my programs are there. And so, yeah, my books and everything they need.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.